Hi guys, welcome back. Another episode on the 550 paintwork. Now, since I last saw you, some things have advanced reasonably well and something most definitely hasn't. So we'll start with the good stuff, which is our ongoing work on the side panels and the petrol flap. So we'll move on to them first, and then once we've got them out of the way, we'll come back and look at what's holding me up yet again. So it's on the table. Let's go and have a look. Here they are, the couple of coats of the silver base coat. It probably won't show up particularly well, but it's even. And the next step is to put some of the blue candy over the top. I struggled getting the paint for the Honda. My usual paint people had a component missing that they used to make candy, and it was stuck somewhere as usual. Very common at the minute. So it was going to be a 4 to 6 week wait. So I then tried the people I'd used for candy elsewhere. In fact, I painted 2 bikes of their candies, and they had no blue of the appropriate shade or close to the appropriate shade left either. They only had a ready mix tin. So I've got a litre of ready mix, which I've never tried. So I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know how well it'll go on. I don't know how well it'll cover. I have no idea. But that's the colour. Now it's not going to be an exact match to the Honda colour, but I'm hoping it will look suitably period at least, if not a perfect match. Obviously the depth of colour depends on how much how many layers you put on. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Right, that's them in the sapphire blue candy. It's probably slightly lighter than the original Honda, perhaps. I don't know. There's not a lot in it. I'm quite happy with it as it is. That's with 3 coats of the base, which I think will be sufficient. The colour does move as you move around it, so it's not particularly candy, but it's not as candy as the Harley Davidson was. But it is what it is. It's neat enough, clean enough. Now it needs lacquering. The 554 stickers for the side are apparently stickers and they don't need lacquering over. So the next step will be to lacquer these and move on. And there they are in lacquer. Nice and shiny, so I'm quite happy with that. The stickers are there ready to go on. I'm less happy about them. It's going to be a couple of days yet before I even try to put them on because the lacquer needs to be really hard, so I'm going to go in the house for a couple of days, maybe even longer. But I did a trial peel on one of them just to see how easy it's going to be, and it's not looking good. So we shall see in a few days' time. There it is, reprimed, reflatted, recoated. There are now no marks in it at all, so that's good. It'll dry off to a semi-gloss finish, which is what I want, and then we'll attach the sticker, so that's good. And whilst I was waiting for that, the 2 badges I've just touched in with modelling paint. They're not perfect, but they're okay. I didn't want to buy new ones, so I thought a bit of brush work might be useful. That's them in the daylight. Gives you a better idea of what the colour's like. It's slightly darker than it looks under artificial light. Stickers are on. They weren't too bad. I suspect that they may have been sitting around for some time. The backing paper was quite hard, really. But anyway, they're on. They look okay. The colour's not bad. It'll do. Right, on to our problem. And once again, it's tank sealer, sadly. Now, I think I did absolutely everything possible to prepare this tank. You may disagree. The manufacturers will almost certainly say it wasn't prepared properly, because that's what they always say when things don't work. I think I've prepared it pretty well. And I would say 98% of this tank has sealed perfectly. But I thought I'd better check it. And by shining a light in and having a good look round, I found a patch about that big on the side over here where it's starting to peel. Now, given the rest of the tank is adhered perfectly well, I don't see how the preparation in that part should be any different from the rest of it. But anyway, either way, it's delaminating in that small section. So I have two options. I can put in some nuts, bolts, wood screws, all that sort of stuff, shake it about, knock off the loose bits, and just live with it, because it is a very small patch. But I don't fancy that. Or I can strip all this out and go with a 2-pack epoxy sealer, which I have used on another bike successfully, instead of this single pour-in par stuff. And I think that's what we're going to do. I'm waiting for the chemical to arrive, which is pretty nasty toxic stuff, but we'll go into that in more detail very shortly. Right, the stuff has finally come. It's taken a very long time. Now, there are branded sealant removers on the market, and I was told by someone that this chemical is basically what they are, but half the price. Now, this stuff I am not recommending because I don't know if it works yet. It is also hazardous, but then again, so must the other stuff be. It's butanone, also known as MEK. So basically, read the safety blurb, make your own mind up. I'll let you know if it's worked for me. I'm not encouraging you to do it either way. It's your choice. So please don't take any of this as a recommendation. So it will go in. The tank cap will go back on with some plastic around it to protect the rubber seal. I will use the rubber bung again with some plastic around it to protect the rubber bung, because I don't know how this will react with rubber. I suspect it won't do any good. And then the tank will be slowly rotated over several hours in each position to try and get rid of this stuff that's inside. You won't see any of that process because it's all going to take place outside. And I'll bring you back and let you see what happens. So, the big question, has it worked? Well, yes and no. That is part of the liner, and that's the stuff I could see peeling off. It's quite thin. Now, when you get pour, you've got to stir it up because it separates out into a carrier liquid which will evaporate off, and some solids. Now this looks like it's lacking in solids, and the bottom of the tank still has a solid layer on it from where it's been sitting as it drained, and I think the clue is there as to what happened. Because it's so cold in here, when I turned it all over, left it, it didn't go off quick enough before the solids started to drop. So the solids have dropped from the carrier, the solvent, and settled on the bottom. So now it's still stuck on the bottom. It's had 7 days worth of MEK and shows no signs of it getting any looser. So I'll set up a little test on the bench, which we'll go and have a look at in a second. But before I do, despite using plastic in there, the vapours managed to permeate and soften up the rubber seal. It has gone back to its normal size now that it's been left again. But bear in mind, if you've got something with a rare seal that you're going to find trouble getting, which this isn't, I can get one of these for a couple of quid, it might be worth removing the seal, even though you are using plastic. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the bench, and then we'll come back and work out what we're going to do. Right, I've done a little test here with chunks of the sealer in different fluids. Now, first up, it's been sitting about 48 hours, I suppose. This is acid rust remover. And we've had no effect at all. Next, cellulose thinners. Possibly some effect. Not a lot, but you can see it moving about at the bottom, so thinners has had some small impact on it. And then we have more MEK, and that has had no effect on the hardened stuff at all. And then caustic soda, again, no effect. So, really, my only hope is to leave it soaking in thinners, or to apply heat on the bottom of the tank to encourage it to break away and then try and break the stuff up. So all in all, not good. Right, so you've seen that virtually nothing is attacking this stuff. So the options are put loads of celly thinners in and leave it for at least, 10 days or something like that. Hope for the best, which is a possibility. Or apply heat to the underside where it's stuck and hope that the heat will delaminate it from the steel, and then hopefully we'll be able to break it up and get it out. Now, given that the celly is going to take a long time, I think I'm going to get a blowtorch out and try some heat, and I will report back to you once we know what's going to happen.